in the last week, what becomes the most crucial part is you should touch upon those topics which have a larger probability of appearing in the examination. और पिछले कुछ सालों में जैसे ट्रेंड रहा है तो उसी हिसाब से एस्पिरेंट क्या करता है, लेफ्ट बैंक और राइट बैंक ट्रिब्यूटरीज और ओरिजिन, ये तीन पर्टिकुलरली पढ़ के रट के एग्जाम में चला जाता है. हाउ डू यू प्रेडिक्ट दोज क्वेश्चन? An aspirant usually goes through these stages while preparing for their UPSC prelims. They start with completion of syllabus, then they move into solving PYQs and test series, and then they revise and re-revise. But in the last week, what becomes the most crucial part is you should touch upon those topics which have a larger probability of appearing in the examination. For example, Indian river systems, Jainism and Buddhism, international organizations, these are some of the themes which each and every one, be it a senior aspirant or the innumerable coaching centers, will tell you to prepare. But considering the present paper pattern, how do you focus on the minute things and the minute micro themes of those particular topics? Now, in today's lecture, we have taken one of the most important theme of UPSC prelims, that is Indian river systems. Now, if you see this, between 2011 to 2023, 12 questions, approximately one question per year, comes from this particular section. और पिछले कुछ सालों में जैसे ट्रेंड रहा है तो उसी हिसाब से एस्पिरेंट क्या करता है, लेफ्ट बैंक और राइट बैंक ट्रिब्यूटरीज और ओरिजिन, ये तीन पर्टिकुलरली पढ़ के रट के एग्जाम में चला जाता है. बट क्वेश्चन वहां पे कुछ अलग ही रहता है. हाउ डू यू प्रेडिक्ट दोज क्वेश्चन? हाउ डू यू प्रेडिक्ट दोज पैटर्न्स? नाउ इफ यू सी दिस चार्ट प्रिपेयर्ड बाय अस, यू विल सी अ फ्यू रिवर्स एंड देन यू विल सी some of the major micro themes which have appeared in UPSC prelims. So पहले जो होता था, इंदस, गंगा, ब्रह्मपुत्र, कावेरी, कृष्णा, गोदावरी, these were the 6 rivers which UPSC was primarily focusing on, and the questions or the type of questions which appeared from this were with regard to the flow of the river. मतलब इससे मोस्टली दो तरह के सवाल आते थे, एक तो origin of the river क्या है, और दूसरा टाइप का क्वेश्चन जो आता था कि कौन से स्टेट से वो पास कर रहा है. देन समवेयर बिटवीन 2014 to 2016 it moved into the tributaries of river. It asked tributaries of Godavari and probably Brahmaputra one year as well. But in the present situation, UPSC has skipped all these rivers and particularly these two type of questions. It has rather moved into this part, that is the last row and the last column. If it is asking you a question on the major rivers, these major 6 rivers, there is a greater probability that the UPSC will ask you about the places of interest which lie along that river. For example, be it a famous site or a sacred temple or a dam or the glaciers that feed these particular major rivers. Similarly, there is a greater probability that UPSC will skip these rivers altogether. Now, how do you get to those rivers which UPSC does not include among these rivers? That is what we are going to analyze in today's session. Now, if the UPSC particularly asks you questions about any other river other than these, there is a greater probability again that it will be a fairly direct question. So, you need to understand where the prelims paper plays a trick. Either it takes a very general river and asks a very difficult question or a difficult micro theme related to that common river, or it takes a very new river like a Vaigai, Vamshadhara or Pennar. In the next few minutes, you are going to see how the question of UPSC in this particular section has evolved over the years. So, first we will take the Brahmaputra river system. Now, in the past 10 years, these question related to the Brahmaputra river system has appeared thrice. Now, let us see how the questions, the quality of questions and the quality of options have progressed over the years. In 2014, for the first time, it moved into Brahmaputra river system in the last 10 years. Now, the question was, consider the following rivers, Barak, Lohit and Subansiri. It asks you which of the above flows through Arunachal Pradesh. Pretty direct question. if you have pretty brief idea about the map of northeastern India, you will be able to attempt this. Then in 2016, it again asked a question related to the Brahmaputra river system. It moved into the level 2 of this themes micro theme, that is, it moved into the tributaries. Which of the following are the tributaries of Brahmaputra? It asked you Dibang, Kaming, Lohit, and asked you to select the correct answer. Again, someone who would have just learned या फिर रट्टे मार के गया होगा, राइट, कुछ बच्चे होते हैं जो लेफ्ट बैंक राइट बैंक रट्टे मार के चले जाते हैं. अदर देन दैट मोस्ट ऑफ देम रीड व्हाट आर द मेजर ट्रिब्यूटरीज. नाउ व्हाई, एज आई सेड बिफोर, UPSC is not getting tougher with the quality of questions. It is getting tougher in the approach with which it is approaching the same theme which it was asking previously. Now, if you see in 2017, once it had exhausted the two basic questions of Brahmaputra river system, it went into the tributaries. Now, it asked about Teesta and another river of the northeastern river system, that is river Rangit. Now, if you see this question, the three options here, it will never ask you about the places of interest along these rivers. This is an uncommon river, not among those major 6 rivers. So, what does UPSC do? It asks you about the source, where does it flow into, again where does river Teesta flow into, and where does river Rangit flow into. So, if you notice, now there are 3 clear micro themes which are coming out of this. One is places of interest, second flow of the river, third tributaries. Next we see another river system, again amongst those major 6 river systems, Indus and Ganga. Now, in 2010, it was a direct question based on the flow of the river. It was moving into this particular topic. So, it was a pretty direct level 1 question which asked you rivers that pass through the Himachal Pradesh are. Pretty much similar about, to the Arunachal Pradesh question. As it moved further in 2019, it was amongst the 6 major river system, the northern Himalayan river system. So, it asked about the major glaciers and which river does it feed into. Remember, the 6 river systems, when I say river systems, it not just includes the main river, but also the tributaries, the glaciers, the dams, the national parks along the main river and the tributaries. That is why those 6 river systems are your top priority, and you should be studying all the 3 aspects, all the 3 micro themes while going into your preparation of this particular last week. Now, after this, in 2021, it asked a very specific question on tributaries. That is, with reference to Indus river system, which of the following rivers joins it directly? So, if you had an idea of this particular map or map of the Indus rivers and its tributaries, this was a fairly easy question to answer. But again, what I am trying to reinforce again and again is, remember the specificity, and the specificity comes in a couple of micro themes only. The specificity will come in your major and most common river systems. It will never ask you a question, for example, Pennar का कोई tributary उठा दिया और वो कहाँ पे मिल रहा है. It will never ask you questions from the other rivers, but those 6 river system you need to study them very minutely and revise each and every aspect of it. Next, one of the most left out and favorite questions of UPSC is the east flowing peninsular rivers. Now, if you look at the east flowing peninsular rivers, it started asking question in 2015, where it was a direct and a fairly simple one, tributaries of Godavari. Now, focus on the theme, sub-theme and micro-theme. If I tell you peninsular east flowing rivers, this is your sub-theme. अभी उसमें UPSC कहाँ पे जा रहा है? Tributaries में. This is micro-theme. So, consider the following rivers. This was a fairly simple one. Then it will gradually progress to higher forms. it will progress to the level 3, that is places of interest. Now it asks you places of interest about 3: Pandharpur, Trichy and Hampi. Now these are again the tributaries of the major 6 rivers. Now coming, as I said, you have those 6 main rivers and then you have the others wala row. This particular question asks you a direct question: which of the above rise from Eastern Ghats? The rivers are pretty uncommon. You need to know which rivers have their origin in Western Ghats. This is the question here. Again, in 2022, Gandikota Canyon, it became very specific with respect to questions from Indian river system here, where it's asking you where is the Gandikota Canyon, South India, was created by which of the following rivers. Now questions from west flowing peninsular rivers have been fairly low, but remember, west flowing peninsular rivers will become very important with respect to dams. When we move into the next few videos, we will see what is the importance of west flowing peninsular rivers in the UPSC question paper. For now, you can see west flowing peninsular rivers have had particularly 2 questions. One is river Luni, which is an ephemeral river, and then the second question which has come is on river Narmada, and it is pretty conceptual and basic flow of the river type question. It flows through a linear rift valley. Where does it flow? Between Vindhyas or Satpuras or some other mountains, and what is the reason for it? Why does it flow that way? So if we summarize and conclude the entire thing, we can say that it's not 100% yahi se aayega, nobody can give you guarantee, but our preparation should be lined up in a way in which UPSC is going. The reason why UPSC seems pretty difficult in the present times is because the questions asked by UPSC and our preparation are not aligned. So in the coming 1 week, what should be your top priority while revising this particular topic, that is Indian river system, is you need to have this table in your mind. You have your sub themes, which are the Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra, Kaveri, Krishna, Godavari. You need to read these particular 6 river system in minute details, their tributaries, the places of interest which are located in that particular river system, and you need to make a list of other rivers, other known rivers, be it a Vaigai, Pennar, Vamsadhara, Brahmani, Subarna Rekha, etc. And then you are going to fill up this box or look up the materials. Do not go for new materials right now. Look up the materials you have been studying till now, and in your free time, whenever you get that, if ever you get that in the next 1 week, just try to fill it up or focus on these aspects while revising this topic. With that, we will come to the end of today's video. Thank you.